Hello, welcome to this video. I'm John, creative director at WDR Studios, making the game Terrible Lizards. This is just a little video kind of showing the gameplay in motion in kind of real time. You know, we don't want to spoil a lot of our game, but we do have this little cave visuals kind of level space that we use to explore, you know, signposting and visual language of the caves. And so it's kind of this isolated little level that I can kind of play through and show you guys in real time, and you know, you guys can kind of see it in motion. So yeah, we're gonna hop in. Again, this cave visuals test is from almost over a year ago now, so it's definitely like a time capsule in a moment of time, and some exploration of ideas, you know, that we evolved in different levels and different builds and stuff like that. So, you know, it's not representative at all of where the game is today in terms of the visual language and stuff. The player controller is up to date of this moment because I am running this out of our engine, but that level that I'm about to hop into is an old one. But without further ado, you know, we have the main menu here, nice and exciting, and yeah, we have all our debug test levels here, and we're actually going to hop in the cave visuals. So very rough around the edges. Again, just something we kind of tested and haven't touched in over a year. So, you know, it's not meant to be indicative of the final product. So let me just clear out some of the things on the screen so we have a nice clear picture. All right, and we have it all cleared out. So, you know, some textures aren't fully here, stuff like that, but we were playing around with kind of signposting within the space. So we, you know, yellow is our motif. Play with yellow and orange, but we just went with yellow. It's more natural in blending with kind of objects and what have you. So we have these kind of like ventilation pipes kind of leading your eye forward. Obviously we have the yellow light up there. There's even the arrow. And so, yeah. And so this is a little loop just to, again, test things out and see how the space feels. We were playing around with these phone terminals for kind of the main way for communicating with kind of the voice in your ear, the person, the mentor taking you through. But we switched it up, went to a headset. There will be a few phone calls that are stationary, but primarily we want to keep people moving and let them have the freedom of moving in a movement-based game. You know, we don't want to slow people down. You kind of see the flashlight here. It is dinosaur teeth, I guess, opening because the light source is right there inside a little flashlight dino man. So it's actually the shadow casting out, so that's fun. And in here we have our swing pole. This was early on. Our swing pole diameter is typically fixed and is a lot bigger than this. This is very narrow. I don't even know where the hands are set up. Yeah, you can kind of see how the hands are set for a bigger kind of swing pole that we've ended up going with. Here we're playing around with like, how can we like telegraph? This is a sliding zone, so we have like wooden boards and this kind of like spot, I guess. And hey, we were playing around with orange still as a motif. We have the cone here, so we're kind of going back and forth, playing around with it. There is sliding here, so mess around with that. And kind of this little loop has most of our gameplay elements, save for like kind of this bouncing element, and then a wall running element, which come in later levels that really kind of open up the door of movement. Super rough ladder, so you can see the player doesn't really actually interact with it that well. Again, this particular level is very pre-alpha. We have ledges, which is another one of our gameplay. The blueprint isn't fully set up to match like the kind of art asset right now. So right now his hands phase in a little bit. Again, this hasn't been touched or tuned in over a year, but no reason to. But moving on with the ledge, so that's fun. Very snappy and responsive. We also have prone. It's a game in caves, and so we want it to be very claustrophobic. And for some reason, the prone is not working in this spot. Yeah, something's funky with this that didn't translate in various updates. So the gameplay blueprints we've updated along the way, and so the modern version of that blueprint does not play well with this level. So then we have some fluid movement here with your good old-fashioned swing. Can drop down, and then the loop starts over. So I'll just run through it kind of nice and smooth, I guess, to illustrate moving through the game, I guess, and you guys can kind of see how nice it can look. Like, this is a very small idea, very short sample size, and a very kind of old level, but it's a good way to illustrate it without spoiling anything. And this area is kind of in the game. It's vastly different now. And we'll phase through this wall. It's vastly different now, but the spirit of this has been kind of used in and actually a part of level 2, so that's pretty cool. So yeah. So there you have it. There is this little slice of gameplay in real time, some live commentary for me to give you guys for Terrible Lizards in our cave sections of the game. And yeah, if you're curious about Terrible Lizards and want to learn more, we have a Q&A video that I did on this channel. It's like a half an hour full of information. We have the teaser trailer. We have all our social media. We have Discord. Interact with us, ask us. We'll tell you what we can. And in the meantime, wait for new releases of content, of trailers and stuff like that as we come up. But this is, again, Terrible Lizards, just a small sample of kind of gameplay and moving around the space. And again, in a very, very old, forgotten, discarded level that we haven't used. But again, I wanted to hop in because it's kind of a fun behind the scenes of where things were for myself, and you guys have no context. But it's just cool in that sense too, that we're not giving anything up here besides what's important, which is the gameplay. So anyways, thank you for watching. Wishlist, follow on all socials, and yeah, thank you for your interest in the game.